Hey everybody, this is Tim Picciott, the Liberty Advisor, coming in with John Snice and the Economic Truth. And we've had another crazy day in the stock market, huge rally. And so right now we're taking a look at trading economics. And Wall Street rallied sharply on Tuesday in a volatile session following the worst trading day since the 2008 financial crisis, as a White House official revealed some details of President Trump's proposed stimulus measures. According to CNBC, or CNBS, I like to call it, the president pitched a 0% payroll tax rate that would last through the rest of 2020, that would be absolutely amazing. And I really wish that is the case, but I'm sure the demonic rats known as the Democratic Party will probably end up shooting that down. However, aside from that commentary, the plan also considers federal assistance for the shale industry amidst plunging oil prices. The Trump administration also announced earlier that it will help the cruise line and airline industry, and that the health insurance companies will waive all copays on coronavirus testing, and Medicare and Medicaid will cover coronavirus treatments. On the corporate side, airline stocks soared. It's funny how they say it, that soars, after companies announced more flight cuts in domestic and international markets, freeze hiring, and park planes. The Dow Jones soared 1,167 points, or 4.9%, to 25,018, while the S&P 500 jumped 136 points, or 4.9%, to 2,882. Now, moving on here, if we take a look at the trading economics screen, and we just mentioned the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, but we also have the Nasdaq up 4.5%. The VIX is down a tiny bit, I guess at 7%. You got other international markets over in Europe. They're up right around 2.5 to 3%. Now, switching gears over to the bond market, the bond yields did rise a little bit. So you got the 10-year all the way up to 0.8%, and then you've got the 30-year went up about 30% in the span of one day, from 1% to 1.31%. And then taking a look at the crypto markets, Bitcoin did make a little bit of a rally, up 1.2% in the past 24 hours, or almost $8,000 a coin. But what we want to get into right now is going to be Plunge protection team holds market conditions call after Monday's market crash. The last time Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin had a phone call with the president's working group on financial markets, better known as the Plunge Protection Team, was on December 24th, 2018, or the day which has since become better known as the Christmas Eve Massacre, and which has just happened to be the low of the Q4 2018 mini bear markets. It spawned a tremendous rally which culminated in a full year return for 2019 of nearly 30%, with zero earnings growth, which is a story that John and I have been talking about many, many times. And basically, the regulators then went on to go say, hey, there's all these different things that we could do. We got the tax cuts that John and I were just mentioning. And then all of a sudden, let me go back here on screen. And then what we see here is that Trump said, he met with all the senators and they were all united. And I think I also heard him briefly say, he's like, we've got the most beautiful test kits, the best test kits in the world. Everyone who wants a test, they're all going to have a test. And I'm not even joking. That's like basically exactly what he said, and which I'm sure isn't really too much of a surprise. So, I mean, what do you think is driving the markets more, John, right now? The plunge protection team or the tax cuts that are going on? And I've almost got my puppy in the picture right now, but not quite. So I guess the people at
No,
home can see little
yeah.
Yoshi over there.
No, Tim, I know exactly what it is. It's PPT, the Plunge Protection Team to the rescue, of course. It's funny how it's always at the end of the day that they come in and then, buy up right at the end of the day. It's actually been like that a lot lately. And I think there was somebody sharing with me. I forgot who it was, but somebody was sharing a chart that was showing how the buy ups every basically end of the day, and it's interesting how they just come in, and then basically manipulate markets and buy up. What's interesting, Tim, is the plunge protection team also has a hidden secret, I think, anyways, because there's a lesser known exchange stabilization fund that's out there that are hiding there, and if you go and look at their webpage, their mission is to keep the U.S. dollar system stable. So what they do is they go out and buy bonds, and mostly bonds actually that they buy. So I think they're more in the bond market, but they're in there manipulating. They're buying currencies, of course, as well, to keep currency prices stable, so there's no distrust in the values of currencies. Yesterday. We were on a huge dive. We could have dived below. If we dove below 100 yen, and I believe that that's what I was saying. That if we go below this, we're gonna have a just a tremendous collapse. They managed to avert that for now, but I think there's more to it. There was actually a Wall Street guy that was saying that we're looking at $80 to $80. No, sorry, 80 yen to the dollar. And I think I was looking him up. He's not just nobody. He's one of the top guys in some kind of analysis. I think it was. I'm trying to remember the corporation now on Wall Street, but it was a big bank, anyways.
Well, the other thing we've got going on right now is we also have, speaking of the bond market and manipulation, is we have funding freeze getting worse. Dealers demand record $216 billion in liquidity from the Fed repo. So we are reading a Zero Hedge article right now, and this was mainly from the term repos, which had already extended from $20 billion to $45 billion. And for those of you at home, a term repo, usually the repo markets are just overnight. It used to be just overnight lending facilities. Now they've extended them out, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 32 days. And what we see as we're going down here on screen is that there were, coming down here, is that, there was demand for over $213 billion. And a lot of it came from, over here in the term.
So 213, is that today, Tim?
So that was March 10th. So yeah, that's going on today. But
also,
that was
that's today. Yeah, because the numbers that I looked at was more like 168 billion with the that was with the 2 week term, and also with the overnight repo.
Well, that's so not what it was oversubscribed, so they didn't actually. That isn't. The
okay.
I
got you.
That
so
was
they actually accounted for the oversubscription. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and I've got my puppy in my lap right now, but the people can't fully see him right now. But I think the last thing we really wanted to cover here in this report was whether or not the White House. So the White House, they've got a plan. So hold on to your seats, everybody. The White House has a plan for economic response to coronavirus, but it isn't there right now, officials say. And so obviously the Democrats are not going to do anything, to help make things quote unquote better. But you also have to, think about what does better mean. So for me, I'm the tax that pisses me off the most of every tax there is has to be the Social Security payroll tax, because I know it's just a Ponzi scheme that I've got to have extorted from me. As someone that's self-employed, you're looking at it's 15.3% right out of the gates. So before state or federal or any other taxes are even counted, I've got to lop off 15.3% that then goes into the Treasury Social Security Fund. But that fund is a filing cabinet in West Virginia in the Office of the Debt that is literally not that much bigger than the filing cabinet behind me. That is just a filing cabinet in West Virginia that holds IOUs is literally what Social Security is. So the fact that we have 15.3% of all income taken right at the top of the first, I don't know, it's like 110,000 or something. That infuriates me. So if Trump wants to bring that back down to zero, I'm all for that. Basically, if you can print money anyways, why is there even taxes to begin with? Because, well, we already know the answer to that. It's about control, not about the money. But yeah, for me, okay, great. Maybe some good stuff can come out of this coronavirus is if I get my tax proposal down to get my, payroll tax down to zero for the rest of the year. That would put a gigantic smile on my face. And that actually does help lower income people even more, but it assumes they have to work. And so the Democrats don't like this plan because you have to work in order to get this. And so they want to be able to give out goodies to their voters, by which, probably going to offend some people here, but by and large, I think it's, the Democrats try to pander to more what I like to call Santa Claus economics and giving away stuff for free. And so they'd rather give stuff away to people who aren't working, whereas the Republicans want to give stuff away to free or people that are. It's not even giving away for free. It's just you're stealing less of my money. Let's be honest about this, John.
Yeah. No, it's Tim. Actually, today I was on the phone with my mom. I was talking to her because there's a lot of coronavirus is spreading all over Norway now. There's half of the cases that's in the United States, and Norway has only 5 million people versus 330 million in the U.S. But as I was talking to her, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister of Norway came online. It came on TV in an emergency broadcast, and they basically said that because people were told that if they get laid off or if they have to take time off, they would only get 66% of their paycheck if they were quarantined or whatever. Then the government comes in and says that, hey, we'll pay the whole bill. we'll give you full salary if you're quarantined. So basically, the government is going to flip the bill. Then the finance minister came out and said that we're going to bail out every single corporation in Norway that is struggling right now because of the coronavirus. And of course, you have that. It's hilarious. So like all these measures are coming out all over the place. They're even going to cut taxes. They were talking about cutting income tax in Norway. So we'll see what comes out of it. Taxes I'm all for. Cut it to zero, please. But any of these bailouts that's coming around now, and of course we talking about that yesterday about massive subsidies that the sectors in the United States has, of course. But I think, Tim, what's going to happen here is there's going to be more turmoil throughout the week. We're going to see bigger. I think we might see some bigger ups and downs that we've seen potentially. So just stay tuned for that. And I would just, hold on for dear life onto, good assets like gold and silver, physical metals, and have some crypto, in case of bank failures because they're coming. They're starting in India. They're been in Lebanon recently, bank runs and bank failures. Lebanon just defaulted on their debt as well to the IMF. So there's a lot of things happening out there, and things are starting to crumble underneath the surface, Tim. And I think that's what people need to be aware of.
Yeah, things are starting to crumble, and what we're going to do is we're going to finish off this video right now, so I appreciate you guys watching, but then we're going to stick around if there's any potential Q&As, and then we're going to start video number 2. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is Tim Picciott, the Liberty Advisor, joined with John Snyson, the Economic Truth, and until next time, which it actually is about 5 seconds from now.